The mutable signs, it's going to be all multitasking, different jobs. They're going to do 2 or 3 things at the same time. As soon as authority's saying there's just this, they're going to be one, but I got these other things to do. They're going to be a little bit more diversified, which might allow them a scope of being able to relate to many more people in authority. But it's going to be, it's not the most ambitious sign. It's much more diversified. And sometimes you can get too spread out, too thin with the mutable signs. The challenge is to be consistent, but you can't be smothered by just one rule or one position. So sometimes there's a need for a second job or multiple things going on for one's authority. And if it gets too narrow, too boring, and just doing the one thing, they won't stay there. They'll leave. They'll change it. A fixed sign there would be inclined not to change it. But a mutable sign would say, why stay? There's got to be a better way. So that adaptability will be there. And the same when you get the fire, water, air, earth, fire. You want to fire on the midheaven, means you got the air on the IC. So if you're thinking about your motivations, but you want some applause. You want to be noticed for what you're doing out in the world. If nobody's applauding, it's going to come down and affect your feelings. So you're thinking about how to do this differently to make it better the next time. But fire wants to burn. I want to do things. I don't want to pass a boring job. I want applause. I want to be noticed for it. I have pride in my authority. So if you're proud of your work, that can be an arrogant thing. It can be a good thing. It's better than having no pride in what you're doing. When it's the air signs, the tendency is to have rational work, to be able to use intelligence at work. Who you know, what you do. You have strategies, you have plans. You deal with authority with plans and with knowledge and with respect. So it's still, so each sign will bring each of the categories. You slow it down. I'm going a little faster now because I want to make sure we include everything and we're moving along. So we can take these and keep going deeper into them, but I just want you to just think about it. When you got the mutable sign on the midheaven or the water signs, you're not going to want a rational, dry, practical job. You want something where you're feeling okay, where there's a kindness, where there's emotions, where you're feeling secure. And you can do that if there's people that are bothering you, it's upsetting your feelings, you're not going to stay. Or you could be overly doting on whoever works for you. You can be super sensitive about this is my status career, and you'd be taking everything personally and overly judgmental as the boss. So if you have water on the midheaven, you have earth on the IC. If you're cardinal on the midheaven, you're cardinal below. If it's water, there'll be earth on the other side. If it's fire, there'll be air on the other side. So if you have very emotional, rational around work, you're in a position where you're really sensitive and you have great expectations. It's very considerate. But personally, you're really practical and down to earth. And on a personal level, it's got to fit. But outwardly, you have the water. So whenever you don't understand, you're getting weak on understanding the one point, take a glance at the opposite and the IC. Oh, the opposite is like that. That's causing this. Oh, it helps to increase your scope of understanding the MC by understanding the IC. So, okay. Then when you get to the rulerships, well, the earth, again, is overly practical. Pay well, down well, take care of this, take care of this. What's there to complain about? This has to be done, but not sympathetic. When you take the rulership again, that rulership is going to determine if someone has cancer in the midheaven, working in as a nurse or a restaurant or catering to people or mothering people or being mom, these become important issues. Someone doesn't have the job. Someone can be at home, have their family, but how it controls and the status of it is going to be important. And if the moon's up there in the midheaven, your mother and your family may have a strong influence on what you're doing and what status you have. If it's a sun, it's Leo. You want the pride. You want to be noticed. You want a job where you get the applause. You've got your desk that everyone's seeing it's better than everyone else's. A lot of, you're the best salesperson. There's got to be incentives in front of other people. You're doing great. So when it's doing great, wow, you rise to the occasion. When it's not, it's so much shame or the lack of pride. But the pride and making a good show of things and being the best leader, that noble side of it, that's the Leo on the MC. It can play it to career. It can play it to how you deal with family, how you get out of the house to go to teachers or school. Like it's all the functional world is being affected. How you deal with it and what's a standard that affects it. So if you have a teacher that's not good and you have Leo there, you're going to be reacting to this. The authority should be the best, and they're not being. And how can we put up with this? So it's my main point is not being linear, just expand it to see ways that it reinforces different ways. And it opens up ideas about a person. And when you see a person's behavior, you can't look at a chart and see someone's good or bad. You look at a chart, you see a difficulty or a special uniqueness. You have to observe to see how well they're using it, how well they're accentuating. Someone could have that difficulty and making it work well. Someone could have that difficulty and being wiped out because of it. You have the theory, you see the potential for good and bad. And you can think this positive, each factor you can think positive or negative. Then when you apply it to someone, you see how someone's using that. And you might come up with ideas where it can be improved and work better for them. All this stuff's in the natal chart. It's important to know these things before you start dealing with someone's timing and what they should do at any time in their life. Okay, so when you get the Mercury, you're going to have jobs that are interesting. You got to be using your mind, your communication, your curiosity at work. There's got to be lots of talking and communication, thinking, computers, but in your curial element, thinking right and not, or having the right education, not having the education would become a strong issue for someone with a Mercury rulership on the midheaven. If it comes to Taurus or Libra, you got the Venus rulership on the midheaven. What are you working for? You're working for money. You want to be paid for what you get. You get respected. You want to be applauded. You want to get the outer approval. So sometimes that can make you really suck up to people in authority, to be nice to them because you might get some benefit out of it. But usually it's you want to be paid well for what you work at. Or are certainly sensitive to raises or not raises. Okay, you put it to the Mars or the Scorpio, you got to be active. You're going to be competitive. You're going to be pushy in the job. You're going to be a little bossy, but you need room to do things. If you're held back and you're restrained, you can't do anything. It's going to really restrict your sense of authority. So if you have the Aries there or the Scorpio there, you're pushing to do things, to use your position to accomplish things in your life. You're ready to put your energy to make something happen. If something goes wrong, then you'll make something else or fix it better, but it's on drive. You know, it puts Mars, but if you're angry, if you're hurting people, that'll affect your authority. It'll have a bigger effect. And then you'll start to see how those things start to affect the other angles and how this works out. So it's somewhat predictable, but it takes depth to see these things. I'm going through it just talking generally for everyone. If it was someone's chart we'd be looking at, we could see much more specifically how this works, and we would already have a texture of what we've built up now. And this would expand your insight or in-depth thinking about a person. When it comes to Jupiter, Sag, or Pisces on the midheaven, you want to have understanding, scope. You want to have opportunities to travel, to expand. You don't want to be hemmed in from work. You don't want to be just stuck in the same position. You want to be going places, adventuring things, learning about more, speculating. You might be inclined to find a job speculating or investing because you see how to speculate or promote things. So it's really can be team-based. You can work with a group. You can be very enthusiastic, very conscientious. That's the Jupiter on the midheaven. You're going to want jobs or status that includes that. So if you're trying to work with someone who doesn't understand you, or there's a battle and you have different approaches, that's going to be a problem. And you're going to have to try and adjust, it's immutable, which way to take on this. So you get good understanding, works better. Bad understanding, you get the results from that. If you forgive one person and they don't deserve it, they did something wrong and you forgive them, but you didn't forgive someone else in the company for the same thing, you're going to end up with a real complicated problem. These are Jupiter type problems. Usually implies a good organizer. In work, you'd be a good organizer. Of organizing, bringing people together, getting to do, keeping it enthused would be good. When you have Capricorn and Aquarius on the midheaven, these are the more strict, authoritative, ambitious sides. Your status is, you're serious about father, about authority. You're going to be practical, somewhat ambitious, or on the reverse, the system is so strong, I'm inhibited, I'll never get that. But it takes a long time to get in position, and when you do, you got the respect for it. So issues of career, issues of being the father or the parent and being responsible about it, as you pick up that thing, anyone you're around it's going to affect. And it's the result of what you projected at your ascendant and what started from your IC. So if the result from where you're coming from, if it's got better, you're going to feel good. If it's gotten worse, you're going to feel bad. It's going to affect, you get good response, it's going to affect how you respond to people. Even in the moment, hi, how you doing? Why aren't you talking? Why are they asking me? Like, the caution can be there, but a lot will be judged by the position that you have. And if it's inhibited, you're going to have to work harder to get to position if you're just taking a boring job. But as long as it's paying and you got respect, you could hold in that for a long time. You don't want to be disrespectful or unreliable. Whew. Okay, we got 14, 15 minutes for the descendant. Okay, so we're gonna, it's just that you're seeing you can do this. I mean, most people read it, they read a few books of making associations and doing astrology, and to a certain degree it works. But if you want to get into in-depth thinking and you want to fill the whole sphere of understanding up and be magical in how you understand and work with someone, this is there. And you're not going to have the time to do all of this for everyone. You do it for yourself so it's valid and you're seeing it for yourself. Then when you need to, you can begin to select on how you can take this to develop this understanding further for each person, for anything, for any 4 angles. So it's extra work, but this is your compass. I mean, if you took the 4 angles, the midheaven is north in the northern hemisphere. Midheaven is south, the IC is north, the ascendant is east, and the descendant is west. So the word news, northeast, west, south, was based on the four directions. So what's news? This is the 4 angles of your horoscope. So we're looking at the implications of these and how each one is very unique and different, but interrelated to each other.